In this lesson, we'll learn how to add 3D solids to our reference planes, what I like to call framework. Now that the framework is set, we can start applying 3D modeling to the reference planes to allow dynamic adjustments to our landing. The first thing we need to do is add a calculated parameter to figure out the radius at the ends of the landing as the different parameters adjust. Next, we add our extrusions. Lastly, we add some parameters to allow us to specify the material we are going to use after we load the family into the model. To get started, open your Revit file called Landings and Railings and the Landing family. Go to Floor Plans, Ref Level, to make sure we're in a plan view. The first thing I'd like to do is add 2 more reference planes and a parameter to adjust for a radius that's going to go in here. The reason we're doing this is the tread bearing and the tread depth are going to be at different increments. Therefore, it makes our radius a little harder to calculate. We're going to add a mathematical expression adding these 2 variables up. To create the reference planes, let's right-click on the leftmost reference plane and create similar. On our Options toolbar, let's set our offset to 10 inches. On the Draw panel, let's click the Pick Lines button. Let's offset the left ref plane in 10 inches. Let's repeat the procedure for the right reference plane, offsetting that inward 10 inches. Hit Escape a couple times. On the Modify tab, click the Align Dimension button on the Measure panel. Add your dimension from the left to the right, and then terminate the dimension. Repeat the procedure on the right side, starting at the right, resolving at the left, and terminate the command. Hit Escape a couple times. Holding down the Control key, select both dimensions, and add a label. Click Add Parameter. This parameter will be called Radius Location. This parameter will be an instance parameter. Click OK. The next step is to add an actual mathematical expression calculating what our radius is going to be at any given time with the different increments. Hit Escape a couple times. To access these parameters, we need to click the Family Types button on the Properties panel of the Modify tab. Within the Family Types dialog box, you can see all the parameters that we've added. There's a value, and then there's a calculated formula that we can add. The formula we want to add will be radius location. The expression for the radius location is going to be tread depth plus tread bearing divided by 2 to give us the radius. So to open up this expression, let's start it with an open parenthesis and type in tread depth. Remember, Revit is case sensitive, so you must type the variables exactly how you see them. Tread depth plus tread bearing divided by sign 2. Once you hit enter, Revit will automatically space the expression. You don't have to worry about gaps or spaces. Just add as uppercase, lowercase. And we'll see now that the radius location has become grayed out, meaning that this is controlled by other variables. Click the Apply button. Click OK. It's time to add some 3D extrusions. To do this, go to the Create tab and click the Extrusion button. The first extrusion we're going to do is going to be the base of our landing. To get started, make sure the Line button on the Draw panel is currently selected. What you need to do is draw a line from this intersection to this intersection. While still in the command, click Start End Radius Arc from the Draw panel. Click the intersection below and move your cursor until it snaps to the tangency. Once you see it snap to the tangency, pick that point. Shift your focus to the Line button again and draw a line to this intersection. Switch one more time to Start End Radius Arc and resolve it at the last point. Move your cursor to the right until you see it snap to the tangent. Once you see this, pick it. Hit Escape twice. We have the outside, but I like to be very accurate. This will probably be 3/4 inch plywood and 3/4 inch bending plywood here. So I'd like to make this as realistic as possible. What we're going to do is offset these lines in 3/4 of an inch. To do so, click the Pick Lines button on the Draw palette. On the Options toolbar, type an offset of 3/4 of an inch. Hover your cursor over any one of the lines, but don't pick it yet. Once you see a dotted line, go to the inside, click your Tab key, and it's going to select every single line, called a chain of walls or lines. Once you see the chain of walls or lines, pick the item. And we now have a 3/4 inch offset. Hit Escape a couple times. Once you're done, click the Finish Edit Mode in the Mode panel, and that will set our extrusion. In the project browser, go to the front elevation. Hit Escape. On the Modify tab, click the Align button. What we're going to do is align the top of the base to the reference plane. To do that, you click the reference plane first and click the top of the base second. Once this occurs, you'll see a padlock icon. This is important. Click the padlock icon. Therefore, this is appended to the landing height. Hit Escape a couple times. The next step is to actually add a name to a reference plane. What's going to happen is we're going to go to Plan and we're going to put the tread on top of this, but we won't know whereabouts the tread's going to be. If we just make the tread extrusion, it's going to go on the ref level. We don't want that. We want it to go on the top of the base. So go ahead and click this reference plane. And in the properties, call it Top of Base. Hit Enter and Apply. Now, in the project browser, go to Floor Plans, Ref Level. In the reference level, go to the Create tab. On the Work Plane panel, click the Set button. We want to keep it at Name, and let's set it to Top of Base. Click OK. It's time to create the tread. So, on the Create panel, click the Extrusion button again. We're going to draw the tread the same exact way that we drew the base. On the Draw panel, make sure your Line button is selected, and start going around in the same circle that we did before. Pick the 2 points, click the Start End Radius Arc button, bring it out to your radius, click the Line button, click Start End Radius, and bring it out to this point. Once that's done, click Finish Edit Mode. In the project browser, go to the front elevation, click your Align button, and align this to the top, and lock it. The next step is to add the bullnose to the perimeter of our landing. First, let's go to a 3D view. Go to the Insert tab, click Load Family. Browse to the directory that you keep your bullnose. Find bullnose and click Open. Go to the Create tab. What we're going to do now is create a sweep. We're going to sweep a bullnose around the edge of our landing. On the Forms panel, click the Sweep button. On the Sweep panel, click Pick Path. Click this line, then the arc, then this line, then this line. Once you're done picking these lines, you'll see a magenta sketch line show up. Once you've verified that you have the entire perimeter selected, click on Finish Edit Mode. For our profile, instead of by sketch, we're going to hit the drop down and notice that our bullnose is available. If we zoom in on the landing, we'll see our bullnose is right in the spot positioned the way we want it. Once you see that it's positioned the way you'd like it, click the Finish Edit Mode button, and it adds our sweep. The next step is to add some parameters for materials. To do so, we append it directly to the 3D extrusions we just created. So let's make a material for the base. Select the base, and in the Properties, scroll down until we see Materials. Notice it says by category. Pick the small button to the right of by category. This will bring up an Associate Family Parameter dialog, meaning we're going to add a parameter. We don't care to set the material now. We're going to let the end user set the material when they're putting it under their stairs. Click Add Parameter, and this brings up the familiar Parameter Properties dialog. We're going to call the name Base Material It's going to be an instance parameter. We're going to hit OK. We're going to hit OK. Select the extrusion that makes up the tread. For materials, click the small button, click Add Parameter, call it Tread Material. Make it an instance parameter. Click OK, click OK. Lastly, select the bullnose. Change the material to Tread Material and click OK. Click the Save button. This landing is ready for prime time. Although it is a simple shape, we have created this landing the right way, by creating reference planes first, then adding variables, then lastly adding the 3D skin. We can now proceed confidently with loading it into our model.